Good morning, everyone.
Morning. I almost feel like we should have had some dochi going as we walked on stage.
We should have, yeah. We should have.
Always a fan favorite.
A little tease.
Yeah. Great. Well, hope everyone is having a good morning and staying dry. My name's Judy Lee, and I'm the Senior Director of Global Brand Experiences at Pinterest. And for all of those who don't know what Pinterest is, our whole mission is around helping people create a life you love. And for those who haven't been on Pinterest recently, it's not just about your weddings or home decor, but it's about the small moments, the everyday moments, everything from deciding what to wear, which is how I found my boots, to what you might eat later this week. And without further ado, I wanted to introduce Olga Suvorova, who is the CMO of Mobile Experience at Samsung Electronics America. And she leads integrated marketing, which includes strategy, insights, product marketing, GTM, creative media, and partnerships. And before that, she was running the consumer marketing at Goldman Sachs. And before that, she held multiple global leadership roles at Google across Google Play, Google Maps, and Chrome and Chromebook. So that's a really hefty
resume. A hefty introduction. Thank you, Judy.
Great. And so for many of you, I think you could tell from the title of our session, we're going to dive into what I think of as the holy grail of marketing, which is all around cultural relevance. And so, recently we've been seeing that Samsung has really been doubling down on smart storytelling and demonstrating how AI enhances people's lives. And I just wanted to do a quick pulse check. How many of you here work for a challenger brand? Okay, a good half of the room. So we're going to also dive into that a little bit too, in terms of Samsung as a challenger brand. So I will just get right into it. So I think, as many people know, like with social platforms being extremely effective, what the unintended consequence of that is, as a person, you might be stuck in an algorithmic abyss, which is unfortunate for younger audiences who are still like shaping their identity and their tastes. And what ends up happening is that you're in this echo chamber where you're just starting to become part of a sea of sameness. Everyone starts to look the same. If you see a group of teens, they might all be wearing the same outfits. And with that, I think there's a huge opportunity to break out of that and really think about developing your taste, exploring it, and discovering who you are. And I think right now as well, I think one of the really exciting things about the younger audiences is that they don't think of creative as a capital C. And I sit on a creative team, so that's like really tempting to do. Gen Z really thinks about creative as part of everyday life, and it's an essential part of everyday life. So in terms of your marketing playbook, I would love to hear more about how you've adapted the playbook to meet consumers where they are.
I love this, and I love the introduction. I also love the question. It was interesting that maybe like 30% of folks raised their hands and said that they work for the challenger brand. I actually think that we in marketing and in business almost like all in the challenger mindset all the time, because we cannot rest on our laurels ever. So when I think about Samsung needs no introduction probably, right? We know that over 70% of the US population have at least one Samsung product in their homes. But when it comes to mobile experience business, so it's everything from our exciting phones, smartwatches, rings, laptops, the new exciting immersive XR experiences that we're launching, we are a challenger brand in the US. And we're number 2, and we're very confidently seeing ourselves and acting as the challenger brands. Because when I think about who we are and who we have always been a nonconformist innovator. We were originated and we have grown to invent and reinvent the technology that would make people's lives easier, more joyful, more productive. So when I started with Samsung, it was very interesting because I did not see that same challenger and nonconformist disruptive innovator spirit in our brand and in our marketing. So we took a step back with the team since last year, and we said, we're going to rewrite the playbook. We're going to be bolder. We're going to be more confident. We will have a point of view, and our point of view, and I love this notion of echo chamber, because our competition is not a particular player, even though I think you'll know who that is. Our competition is consumer inertia. When you're going through the same things you have been doing that your friends and family are doing, even though you might be interested in something new and different. So as a brand, we're in this journey of waking people up and introducing and inviting them to a new and different mobile experience that is exciting, that is different, that gives them a wow, but also gives them a lot of functional utility. So that's what led us to rethinking our marketing playbook. And sort of like that reflected in our stronger point of view in campaigns like on Crush, or it's time to upgrade your upgrade, or can your phone do that? That is running right now. It came to life in a different approach in the cultural zeitgeist when we started to join forces with the brands, platforms, and incredible ambassadors like Doechii, like Dylan Afrin, who are sort of like not afraid to color outside the walls and are the innovators and disruptors in their own field. And I would say the third one is just really making our technology more human and telling those stories that are more relevant. I know we'll talk more about it, but I just love this notion of how do we break through the algorithms and everyone and every brand being a challenger brand.
I love that, because something we often say with what we're trying to do at Pinterest is really encourage people to be their unapologetic selves. I think we all have a lot of norms, and it's really difficult to make change. So I think that's what I'm really excited about for Samsung. And speaking of in terms of being a challenger, my mom would be really surprised that Samsung's a challenger brand. Go Koreans. And so, sorry, I have to do a plug for my people. And it was funny, I was just with her this past weekend, and I don't know about all of you, but my mom is always asking me for IT help, which I'm like, oh, Lord. But the funniest thing about this past time, she didn't ask me any IT questions. And she had her latest Samsung device, and she was showing off all these different tricks on it. And she doesn't quite know what AI is, but she knows that it makes her happy and makes things easier, and she can figure things out. She's like, all the things she used to ask me, she's like, I'll just ask my hand phone. And so that's what she calls it, a hand phone, if anyone has Korean parents. And so with that, I think there's just a lot of joy that comes with kind of discovering technology. And some consumers might not even need to know how AI works. But would love to hear
I love this. I want to spend time with your mom.
She's a hoot. But would love to hear what your approach is to telling compelling stories and that are really fueling your growth in the US, and what stories you're finding that are resonating.
Well, it's pretty obvious that we need to bring your mom in and tell her story, because it sounds beautiful and amazing. We found a lot of similar things. And I would say as a brand, we were probably the first one in January 2024 with the launch of our Samsung Galaxy S24, launching a true AI phone, because it had incredible capabilities. We very quickly scaled it across the ecosystem, sort of like the cool things from the sleep and health tracking that your phone and watch do, for example, because of Samsung Health. And we continue to iterate on that. But what we very quickly realized is there's way too much AI conversation out there. I don't think it's going to be a surprise for anyone. And for us, it's never been about let's launch more tech features and tech specs. And it's truly how can we build something that will help people be more creative and more productive and help them save time or have some extracurricular activity with their kids when they don't know what activity to do. So that's why we moved away to really telling the stories of what people are doing with our technology. And that has been a very big unlock of sort of I know everyone talks about show and tell, but it's truly, I'll give you an example. The incredible functionality that's actually AI, we call it generative edit. When you can take any photo, and for example, if Judy and I have a random background that we want to erase, I can do that and I create a net new photo. Or you can take a new photo and you can sketch in it. It's called sketch to image, and you can turn it into something else. I can put a crown on my head, flowers in Judy's hands. So that's pretty fascinating. And that is both amazing and practical, but it's also super fun. I love messing with it. That's AI. The functionality that we have on some of our phones that we call Live Translate is pretty incredible. It's basically, and it's also amazing on our foldable devices, so a little flip phone. So Judy and I can have a conversation, for example, like you were talking to me in Korean, and I got an immediate translation on the outer screen. So that's AI as well. But what we chose to lead with was those incredible experiences, whether it's Live Translate, generative edit. The newest ones that we did with Dochi is called Audio Razor, versus calling it like, here's AI and here's AI. So we kind of like lead people into that. And Dochi's story was equally amazing. She's one of our newest brand ambassadors. She is the challenger. She's the nonconformist. And it was pretty amazing because the latest work that we did with her for the launch of our newest foldables, called Can Your Phone Do That? We were basically on tour with her in Europe, where she was using the phone to basically riff on some of the takes and using the audio razor to black out some of the background noise and or do some interesting mixes. And that was pretty amazing. And that's what inspired us to make it part of our creative campaign earlier this year.
Personally, I love Dochi. I feel like she's perfect as that nonconformist innovator. And I did forget to mention, live translation is a huge help. I think that's really brought my mom and I closer, which is also probably why she's laughing and smiling every time she uses it. And also another use case, because my Korean reading is not great, but I've really been into K-beauty, and I accidentally ordered something that came in all Korean, but just kind of using to translate live was amazing. Great. And so I think just following up and really thinking about cultural moments, because I think, all of us are really, brands are really thinking about how can we shape culture rather than simply follow it and really be in there and participate. For Pinterest, we often look at our trends. If you don't know the Predicts report, it's dropping soon in December, but it really looks at like what will be trending, not what was trending, based on like searches and saves and how people are interacting with things. So I'd love to hear more about, where do you decide where Samsung plays, and more about what's working well or what have you learned?
Yeah. And I would say it's a journey, and it has been a journey. For example, we have been investing and really doing amazing things in the gaming space for quite a while in mobile gaming. And it's fascinating because my team was telling me recently, we're the number 2 fastest growing brand in the sort of like gaming after some of the gaming players. That's pretty insane, right? Because we basically have the incredible phone in terms of performance, in terms of the large screen, whether it's traditional phone or the foldables, that becomes 2 phones in one, that really makes that gaming experience incredible. But something that we started doing more of as of last year is sports and live events and entertainment. And that journey and that decision process for us came down to 2 main things. Number 1 is, what are the core values and aspirations of a particular platform or area or a person that they aspire to do, and does it align with what we aspire to? Do they aspire to break down barriers, to challenge conventions, to create new experiences, to open up their fans, their audiences to something new and different, the same way we're trying to open people up to becoming their preferred, the number 1 mobile choice versus something else? So that's one. The second one, which I always think about it, we're so lucky because we work for an incredible innovation company, and you can do so many insane things. So we choose to show up and play where certain experiences wouldn't have been possible if Samsung wasn't there. So, for example, earlier this year, we became, and it started before this year, we became the official technology partner of Unrivaled, which is the first of its kind 3-on-3 women's basketball game that is owned by players, that has a very different support of athletes throughout the season, that has a very different fans experience. And we basically joined forces with them because we said we believe in challenging the conventions of what women's sports and sports in general are, and where we want to take it. And we were able to make the Samsung technology a part of the DNA of the league, because we said all the content is being captured by our Samsung phones. So it is landing on the social feeds immediately. Even though the stadiums are smaller, millions of people are able to experience those games and that content immediately in a matter of seconds. So suddenly the accessibility and the scale and the authenticity is huge. The watches, the rings are helping the athletes track their health, their sleeping, their performance, working with coaches. And we also join forces and build something very interesting with broadcasts. We did something that we called Galaxy Huddle Cam, which uses the same feature that Dochi loves, which is audio racer. So basically during the breaks, we film the content of coaches doing the huddles with their teams. And we're blacking out all the background noise, so you can actually see what they're talking about and you can hear what they're talking about, and that's pretty amazing. So for us, those two things have been really, really amazing. And I think similarly, we have a lot of conversations, not just with partners, but incredible people, whether it's Dochi, whether it's Jaden Smith, whether it's Dylan Afrin. And we try to understand what journey they're on and how we can be an amplifier in their journey. So it's 1 + 1 = 3.
I love that. I feel like you've made such smart bets on who you've chosen to be ambassadors. So I'm sure everyone knows Jaden is now the new creative director of Louboutin, which is kind of amazing, especially knowing their journey. And I'm also a huge women's basketball fan. Olga and I will take anyone on 2-on-2 versus 3-on-3. See us after. But I think, if you've ever been to one of those functions, and I might be partial because one of my big focus areas are live experiences. And I do just think there's something so magical. And when you pick the right thing, and I do feel like women's basketball has a really loyal fan base. I think you just tap that magic and that emotion. And if you've ever been to a WNBA game or an Unrivaled game, you can definitely see that. It's not like a men's basketball game. And I think that's what I loved about it, to be honest. And of course, we are also working with New York Liberty and with the WNBA. So
I got very excited when I saw that because Brianna Stewart is actually one of the founders of the Unrivaled game, and she's part of what we call Samsung Team Galaxy. Mm-hmm. She and Nafisa Collier and all the other players have been absolutely amazing, and just to your point, the energy, the ambition, but also the kindness that comes from that. And I think it's easier for brands than to build from that common ambition.
Yeah. And I think I also love that it just amplifies who they are, right? And really kind of helps support and put them in the forefront, which I think is very exciting. Cool. So I think with that, we will enter into our lightning round, which is always a fan favorite. Are you ready for this, Olga?
I don't know. I am ready.
Okay. This might be a little bit of a softball, but where do you go for creative inspiration?
Ooh, I go for a walk a lot. I love wandering the streets. And I do actually, Judy and I talked about this before, and it was not prompted. I do love Pinterest and what you guys have done, because I've been watching the journey of really standing up for being a different social and community platform. And I love, I can get lost and come up with so many different thoughts afterwards, sometimes too dangerous.
Same. I was there last night building out my fall wardrobe. So just say spending a lot. And actually, speaking of that, do you shop online or in store?
Research a lot online and then go in store.
Yes, definitely. Same here. Always on marketing or launch and learn? Or both?
We do both, but I would say it's always launch and learn.
Yep.
I think I talked about being a challenger. I feel like it's an always learn mentality.
Yeah, great. Favorite Galaxy wearable?
You're asking me to pick a favorite kid. I have to be honest. So we launched these smart rings, Samsung Galaxy Ring, last year, and I've loved it because, and I've been using watch before, and it's incredible. But I I sleep with Ring. I share their. It's incredible, and it really helps. And the sleep score is the first thing I check in the morning.
Yep.
And it's amazing. It's like I sometimes do nothing about it. I was like, you slept really terribly. So you should do these things different. Just knowing that and knowing kind of like I was like, I should really like do these things differently has been incredible. And watch, I just loved it. It's really incredible, like for running for a track. But I love this little guy.
Hopefully your sleep score was good this morning.
Yeah, it's
great. Okay, this is a personal thing. Battery life. Fully charged, I'm always above 90%. Or do you play with fire?
Well, it's sort of like I play with fire because this like the Samsung phones have such an amazing battery that I sometimes just forget to charge because there's like it lasts days. And then I end up playing with fire.
Yeah. I'm also like that with cars. I'm always above 3/4 of a tank full. It's just a quirk of mine. If you could teleport anywhere today, where would you go?
Time or space?
Yes, all of the above.
You know, I love the Roaring 20s.
Ooh, yeah.
Something about it.
Yeah.
Something very different.
Yes, I love a good Gatsby-esque party. All right, New Yorkers, don't jump out of your seats, but pizza or bagel?
Pizza always. Like a slice from Joe's.
Yes, same.
I know many opinions about where and how good.
And then morning shows or late shows?
Late shows always.
Yes. And then finally, check-in or carry-on?
Always carry on. Travel light.
Yes, same here. Well, thank you so much, Olga. Please, everyone.
Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you so much, everyone. Well, okay, can we do my favorite thing? Because I feel like we talked a lot about the fun things and technology. And I was talking about like my favorite device, which is like this little guy. I call it this little guy because it's the foldable. And it's amazing, but it also takes the most stunning photos and can be hands-free. So can we take a group selfie?
Yes.
With all of you.
We're going to have our Ellen moment. All right, everyone. Okay.